Builders of Egypt has been on my radar for 6 years, and I've pretty much been following it since first announced. I had decent hopes for the game, despite Playway's often shifty publishing tactics, yet after 2 hours of playing the campaign, the game still appears to be in beta despite toting a full release tag, and there's just no way that I can recommend purchasing this game until they work on a lot. And considering the slow development time, I can't see that happening anytime soon. Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and before we dive in, if you enjoy review style content or simply appreciate the honest views incoming, it would do wonders if you gave the video a like, sub to the channel, and left a comment down below to bless it among the YouTube algorithm gods. Your support is always appreciated immensely. Also, just as a slight caveat, this isn't a full and true review, as I typically try out the game much more extensively before reviewing it. But yeah, I can't waste my time any further into the game, so it's more of a quasi-review, more of a critique feature than a true blood review, hence the shorter video and approach. Just wanted to mention this for clarity's sake. Now time to plunge into the muck, starting with a brief overview. So, what is Builders of Egypt? Builders of Egypt is an ancient Egyptian city builder that takes you throughout the different areas of Egyptian dynastic history. Like any good ancient city builder, you'll manage your population to create cities, producing goods, erecting shrines and temples to the gods, always with a dose of incredible wonders as the cherry on top. You will manage trade, eventually wage war, and ensure the safety of your own people to endure through the ages. At least that's the goal of the game, if you get through to it. Now on to my favorite breakdown of any game, it's the UI and UX, the uncontrollable mess. As a person who loves to dive into both user interface and user experience, and believes that both are crucially important for the success of a strategy game in particular, Builders of Egypt succeeds in one, fails miserably in the other. The user interface is its biggest success, but even that is middling. If you're going to go up against old impression style city builders as Caesar 3, Pharaoh, and Zeus, even if you're not directly trying to compete, you have to lean in more to thematic UI. The game's more modern background with a small smackling of Egyptian elements quite honestly makes it a bit cold and stiff, like the developer may have been too cautious in their approach. Builders of Egypt does a decent job in its layout overall though. It's fairly easy to dissect information on the top screen such as city ratings, various world interactions, and current city stats like your population, money, in this case bread is your currency, and unemployment. And even the building category icons, naming, filters, and map features are solid. Its organization could use some work though. And while relatively minor things in the grand scheme of things, they still show a lack of unified design overall. Take these city ratings. Your ratings are listed at the top left of your screen in order of religion, kingdom, prosperity, city, family, and culture. If you are able to find the ratings tab, it's in the order of prosperity, city, culture, religion, family, and kingdom. Again, a small thing, but it caused a mild panic when I first found that other menu as it wasn't reflected in the same way as the top UI. The game also isn't consistent with its number valuation, as I have a higher city rating inside the city tab than I do on my top UI. This is just one example. Other examples are things like shrines only labeled as A, B, and C, rather than their own unique icons to the gods, when there is literally an icon to each god in the god tab of the game. Another is the organization of the Pop Unemployed Money tab at the top, where I would have lumped population, workers available, and percentage unemployed all together, say on the right side, with money on the far left side. Things like every single records menu having a different art style to show the same information. Again, nothing that breaks the bank, but some simple UI features are easily resolved simply by keeping their order consistent across multiple menus, etc., etc. It's the user experience that really kills, and it has caused several soft blocks for me. As usual, the first few missions are designed to hold your hand in a bit of a tutorial style, and I have no issues with that approach. What I do have an issue with is locking my ability to move around a map to a small, very designated space, which in one case prevented me from going back and finishing a road to a building I needed access to in order to progress in the mission, or a financial stats menu that consistently doesn't show me my expenses so I can track where I'm losing thousands a month, rather in a chart that still doesn't make a ton of sense, nor show all the information that should be needed. The biggest for me is that you cannot limit how much you want to import or export an item. Rather, you need to make sure each stockpile building has the right settings toggled so you don't over-import, for example. Right before writing this, I went bankrupt in a mission because I forgot to say no clay imports on my new stockpile building, and the trader dumped over 3,000 units of clay that I simply didn't need nor could afford. A trade limiter is Ancient City Building 101. I have no idea how something like that was missed. There are redemptive qualities in both the UI and UX. Building effectiveness areas, house stats, and the requirements to level them up are actually incredibly solid and straightforward, and probably one of the best pieces of the game in my short time playing. But given the track record so far, I can't fathom managing a massive city where I would have to remember to turn flipping clay off, where I don't want someone dumping thousands of units of the stuff because I simply forgot. If that were it, I would say you could probably move past all of that and still enjoy the game. But on equal measure is its economic balance. Weighed, measured, found wanting. Long story short, the game is wildly unbalanced, at least to me. A small settlement of 300 people, with a fifth of its people unemployed, cost me 4,500 bread currency every cycle, which might be a month at a time? I'm honestly not sure. But with turquoise exporting at 120 bread a unit, jewelry at 304, pottery at 133 in this specific mission, I'd have to export an extreme amount of the goods to even break even, much less turn a profit. Farms either yield a very small amount of goods, not to mention have a hilariously small footprint, or the people consume a very large amount of food per person, as 8 farms should easily sustain 300 population, but it gets gobbled up instantly. A small import festival to the gods sets you back 7,000 bread currency, with a common festival requiring 1,800 beer and 25,000 bread. I can tell you this, them gods are gonna feel very left out, because I don't see how you're doing anything but poor festivals until the late game. I've lost the first 3 missions about 6 times total due to the imbalance, and that's even learning to play super conservatively. But with employees living like kings with their wages, and my inability to turn them down because of the king's minimum wage rating, I don't see how you can consistently build a stable economy in this game to support thousands of people, if that's even possible to do currently. There needs to be a massive overhaul here to reduce expenditure in order to make this game viable. With these 2 big areas in mind, here's my quick and final opinion. It's late alpha, early beta, at best. The issues I'm seeing in this game are signs that Builders of Egypt was nowhere near ready to release, even to early access, much less full release. There are several systems that need worked on to make this game playable, and needs a solid year of just polishing and playtesting its economy. And that really stinks to say. I did have high hopes for this game as a more modern approach to ancient city building. I'm a huge fan of the era, and with Pharaoh being one of my first strategy games, I am immediately pulled into Ancient City Builder of the theme. But I cannot recommend you purchase this game until these big issues are fixed. And if it took 6 years to get to this point, I am honestly concerned that the chances that these will be indeed addressed and pushed during post-release. This is, very unfortunately, a big miss. That being said, I do still have a bit of hope that these issues can be addressed and make it a solid game, and I do wish all the best for the developers that they can implement feedback. I never enjoy negative reviews, even quasi-reviews like this one, but I also believe it's necessary to provide critical feedback, especially in my beloved strategy genre. And with that in mind, time to wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this informative and helpful in making your decision on the game. Release is still set for January 8th, 2 days from the launch of this video, and I have the link to the page in the description below. As always, if you want to support the video and this channel, you can do so by giving it a like, subbing to the channel, and commenting in the comments section. Do let me know your thoughts overall, be it my critiques if they are valid or not, your expectations on the game, or anything otherwise. This is Havoc, and I am out of here.